game we have just witnessed at the Martínez Valero. Between these two sides, first and foremost, got to say, Liga.
I think it was late from the beginning of the season. We've seen that it was Barcelona first and then Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid has been lost, but they is getting back. But yeah, I think that after what we've seen of this Real Madrid today, we can say that, yeah, there is a lot of competition to be played from the next few months. And really, really concerned about the display of Real Madrid, because just maybe the last 20 minutes we saw a little bit of reaction, we saw a little bit of creativity in the last there, or a few chances, but the first 45 minutes were really, really worried for Xabi Alonso.
Were they lucky to come away with a point today, Real Madrid?
To a certain degree, because in the first half they were played around far too easily, and there was they created chances, Elche, that they should have taken. Rafa Mir and Silva should have scored with their chances. And I thought the front two dominated the two centre-halves. Too often the two centre-halves were left by themselves and they lost the individual battles. You know, the one where Andre Silva tries to square it's because they lost the initial battle. But there were so many things wrong with Real Madrid's play today. It lacked intensity. They didn't close the ball down well enough. The defending on certain areas wasn't good enough. They were out of shape too many times. And when you're a team like Real Madrid and you're struggling in the game, you're looking for individuals to go and take the game by the scruff of the neck. Did you see one of those players take the game by the scruff of the neck? I certainly didn't. Some big players out there as well didn't really get hold of the game and say, right, this is going to be my game. I'm going to change the course of the game. I'm going to affect it. I don't think anybody did.
They were a bit lucky to get the point, frankly, weren't they?
Yes, they were. And, you know, I agree with what Stuart and Luis were saying. It probably would have been better Real Madrid to lose today, because they would have then had an inquest into how bad they were. Because the side that Xabi Alonso picked didn't turn up at all. Even
well, they still have an inquest.
Well, yes, but they got away with it and they got a point and they've gone back top of the league. So it'll brush over the fact that it's happened. But I thought they were really, really, really disappointing. And you look at that side today and you think, what's changed from Carlo Ancelotti's side? And
What do we come back
the answer
with?
is nothing.
Yeah.
They look as if they're just a bunch of individuals defensively, but they were terrible all over the place again. Playing as just for moments, hoping that Kylian Mbappe or Vinny Jr. do something magnificent. And you can't rely on it at the moment. They need to wake up.
So whatever the stamp that Xabi Alonso is looking to put on this side, he hasn't done it yet, has he?
God, no. No. I mean, everything that Xabi Alonso did at Bayer Leverkusen, whether you play three at the back, which is, you know, of course, is hard to do at Real Madrid, but pressing the ball, working hard, you know, maximum effort, that wasn't there tonight.
Yeah.
And it was just off the cuff, running round, not helping. You see the second goal today, nobody closes Alvaro Rodriguez down. He picks the ball up on the halfway line, runs, turns Raul Asensio inside out, just amateur football. You're thinking to yourself, when are they going to pick it up? Yes, they've gone top. Yes, it'll hide a multitude of sins. But if they play like that, they're not going to win anything this year, are they? You know, Villarreal and Atletico Madrid are breathing down the necks.
Yeah.
Forget about Barcelona. Barcelona are in much better form than Real Madrid are at this moment in
But
time.
big picture, that's good for La Liga to
Great.
me, that a team like Elche in 13th place give Real Madrid as good a game as that. And now you've got a real title race. Villarreal are in it. Atletico are in it, if you look at the table now.
Yeah.
That's got to be good
No, it's
for this
brilliant.
league.
It's
And I
brilliant.
thought that was great. A team like
Yeah.
Elche played the way they did against Real Madrid. They thoroughly deserve what
Yeah,
they
you
got
don't
from
want to
the
brush
game.
over the fact that Real Madrid were poor, because we have to focus on the positives. And Elche came and played Madrid at the game. They didn't sit back and defend. They wanted to play football. They wanted to go forward. They wanted to impress, and they did. And they deserve everything they got. It's just a pity, as you can hear by Siren Naden speaking to David Affengruber. He was upset, and you can see why. They deserved the 3 points today. And unfortunately, they've walked away with one. But still, it was an excellent performance from Elche. And going forward, if they play like that, they'll stay in La Liga, no problem at all.
Yeah, I think I'm going to buy a pair of shoes from Elche. Back to UK.
Thank you so much, guys. Great call today as well. But as it stands, it's a 3-game winless run. Obviously, there was the Liverpool game in the Champions League before the international break. There was the draw against Rayo Vallecano, and now this draw against Elche. Many things are going to be asked. As it stands right now, we haven't heard from Xabi Alonso, but his team selection tonight, that's the first thing that he's going to be picked up on, surely.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that why it wasn't Vinny Jr. involved, why Valverde. I think that he can give a little bit of argument because they've been involved in international, long trips, pick a little injury. But I'm not going to focus just on the players. I think the way that the team approached this game, it wasn't the best one. You could see in the 50-50s, Elche was more aware of it. It was more intense. It was more energetic, center of the midfield. we've been talking a lot that it was missing since the Toni Kroos talks and arguments. We haven't been saying that this Real Madrid needed someone. Why Zubimendi wasn't there, because he's been a big top. But when you put together a team because you want to have more the ball, you want to have more creativity and bring the ball in better conditions to the players up front, with Arda Güler and Ceballos, you know that you're going to struggle, because you're going to play in front with a team that is one of the best team, third team with more possession in the league. You've seen them play. You know that they wait for you. They allow you to come to open spaces for you to decide where to go. All those kind of moments, you know that you're going to face. And then you decide to bring Arda Güler and Ceballos probably in the worst scenario, in the worst moment, to play against a team that have more possession. So if you start from that one, you see two young players at the back to have them play much together, and they play against, and Rob just mentioned again, two physical and strong players up front. You start getting small things, small details, and if you put that all together, you got this. A team that doesn't know if they're going to go up front, or they're going to sit at the back, or they are going to have the possession in the middle of the park. And small things become a big problem. And that's what the Real Madrid took tonight. They managed to get a point, and that's something that we were expecting, because in the second half they're going to improve. Even Jude Bellingham, we saw why Jude Bellingham didn't start the game like we saw in the last 20 minutes, with that energy, grabbing the ball, passing players, moving around. I didn't know why, because maybe he wasn't happy with what was happening around him. So small details managed. And I'm going to just say one more thing. Body language, I said about Vini Jr. When Vini Jr. was coming in, Ceballos and Rodrigo was leaving the pitch on the side. There was they were attending. There was a stop. It was the game. It wasn't on, and it took a little bit of time. And they never went into the middle of the park to try to say goodbye to the players. I think that those kind of moments are very important to look at. Why two players are getting changed? It was Fran Garcia from the other side of the pitch went into the middle of the park and say hi and goodbye to the players, wishing all the best. And Ceballos and it was Ceballos and the other player that are now, and Rodrigo, were leaving out of the pitch. So these kind of situations are something that if Xabi Alonso doesn't address in control, it can be a big problem in the future.
On that physicality point that Luis brought up a bit earlier, and you've mentioned the centre-backs tonight, is that a concern for Real Madrid when they come up against physical teams, Robbo?
Yeah, because what they wanted to do to start with, the Elche were going to try and play out from the back, and they took some big risks in the first half. So Real Madrid put almost 5 players up. So the goalkeeper was then going to go long, and they pushed their full-backs in as well. So it was 2 centre-halves against 2 centre-forwards. And if one of them's going for the ball, he might not win the first ball. The other centre-half has to be round on the cover. And Asensio wasn't round on the cover for the chance where Andre Silva should score. He's actually in front of the other 2 players. So there was lots of issues there. There was lots of issues with ball watching. There was lots of issues with when they got played around. There was no recovery runs. That's the key to defending, recovery runs. Not, seeing the danger, seeing runners going, dropping off if somebody else is challenging so you can pick up the bits and pieces. All those things weren't right for Real Madrid today, and that's a real worry going forward. And it looks to me as though Xabi Alonso, and you talked about the body language, the players aren't quite sure what they're meant to be doing at the moment. I'm giving the players a bit of an excuse here, but it doesn't look as though they realise you said Jude Bellingham, what is his role in the team? I'd love to ask him, what is your role in the team? What do you think it is? Is it that you just want to score goals and get into the box? Do you want to be a normal midfield player that creates? Do you want to be somebody that picks up the bits and pieces? He's an excellent player, but I don't know what he's doing at the moment.
Yeah, and another player from England that we need to talk about today as we go back down to our boys at the side of the pitch is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Sid, on the commentary, Ian Darke said if this was an audition, how would he have fared? It'd be great to get the thoughts of yourself and Nedum on that.
If this is an audition, I don't think he gets the part. I think that's the short answer to that, not least, of course, because there are other players who can play that part. We've seen Dani Carvajal is currently injured, but Fede Valverde has played it right back, and there have been times this season where we have suspected over the last 3 or 4 weeks that Xabi Alonso prefers Fede Valverde, a midfielder, at right back than Trent Alexander-Arnold. And just to pick up on something that Robbo said there, that defending is about the recovery runs, in part as well, isn't it? And this is certainly what I think we were thinking watching the game from pitch side. It's also about being well positioned enough that you don't need to make those recovery runs.
Yeah, positioning is a very good starting point, but if you're out of it, then the desire to be there is going to be a key thing. I think his performance today can be seen in 2 different ways, because from an attacking standpoint, with the set pieces, yes, he was dangerous. From a defensive standpoint, I felt like there was a lot of attacking down that side for Elche, and I think that says a lot. And for me to kind of sum up how I perceived his game today, because I think there's some things within football that go sort of under the radar. There was a point where Real Madrid were desperately trying to defend. Bodies were being thrown everywhere. And then there was a chance for a quick counter-attack, and I think it was Courtois threw the ball to the halfway line. Who was on the halfway line? it was Trent Alexander-Arnold, the player that should have been back there with the melee of bodies, but instead, unfortunately, he's the one that starts the next attack, and it looks good, but in reality, it's a letdown to those other people who've put everything on the line to try and stop that goal. But I don't know what you guys think, Kay, but that's definitely my opinion.
Yeah, when you take a look at the table, that's what we're actually looking at as it comes to that now. Atletico are now just 4 points behind Real Madrid at the top of the table, just at the top of the table as well, because they've just gone a point ahead of Barcelona, only picking that point up here against Elche. Barcelona had closed the gap yesterday. Obviously, Luis, you've said that, we know there's a title race on here, but it's getting really hard to call at the moment, and Barcelona are getting closer right now.
Yeah, it's getting closer, and the guys just mentioned that the rhythm of Barcelona, we saw it yesterday at Athletic Club, is really strong. They are missing a lot of players also. It's not that they haven't recovered. And all of them, it was Rafinha, the one late, he played yesterday at 10 minutes. But you can see that if Barcelona plays here, at least you can see that intensity. You can see the movement. You can see the ball flying from one side. After, we can talk about that high line or not, but you can see there is something there that they are trying. Today, we didn't see anything from Real Madrid, much more than trying to bring the ball as soon as possible to Mbappe. That is the one who was trying to create something or being more as a threat. So those kind of moments is a long season. There is still a lot to be played, and Champions League is going to be involved. And we all talk about February, March, when the things are more important. And always these kind of players, Real Madrid players, they show up in the most important moments. But definitely it's a concern, because if you start dropping points at Elche, at Rayo Vallecano, games that you should get the 3 points, you're going to miss those points at the end of the season.
What are your thoughts on it, Robbo?
We're saying as if Barcelona are in great form. They played quite well last night. There was moments in the game where they were still outplayed, and they had a couple of moments where they got away with it. Barcelona still have problems defensively. It's going to be a great season, because neither of these sides, Real Madrid or Barcelona, are going to be at their very best. Neither are going to be totally dominant, which makes it even better. And it leaves the other clubs a chance to maybe catch them up, because I watch Barcelona every week, and I don't think you know what you're going to get from Barcelona. You're going to get chances, you're going to get shots at goal, you're going to get goals, but you don't know what they're going to do defensively.
Well,
so
that's
that's a key point.
Right, yeah, key point for both of them right now.
Yeah.
You're not quite sure what you're going to get from them, and we've seen that today from Real Madrid. Let's get back to Sid and Nathan for their final thoughts down from the side of the pitch.
Well, Barcelona fans will have to forgive me, and Real Madrid fans will have to forgive me, Kay, for saying that what you're talking about there, I think is great news. I'm looking forward to the possibility of having a league title race that maybe involves Atletico Madrid and Villarreal as well, that maybe involves 4 teams and not just those 2. And I think that really and truly, and I wish this wasn't the case, but I think it is true that for those other teams to be involved, it probably needs to be a season in which the big 2 are a little bit vulnerable. And so in that sense, with apologies to fans of those 2 teams, I quite like the fact that they're not at their best.
Yeah, do you know, I'm gonna buy into that. I think that's perfectly fair. I think both sides are basically showing the issues that they have at this moment in time. And it's not to say that they can't improve as the season progresses.
Absolutely, because the talent is there.
Exactly, yeah. But it's interesting to see at this stage right now. And I've got to say, I hold my hands up. I said it was going to be 4-1 to Real Madrid. Listen, I'm a full believer in Elche. I am a full believer now. I'm an Elche truther. So from this point forward, they will never lose a game again in my eyes.
Ever again?
Ever again.
Good. Right. You heard it here.